right, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending where you're joining us from. Welcome to another episode of Keto Rocks Radio Podcast. I'm Jim Hobbs, and to my left or right, depending on how he's showing up on your screen, is Mr. Brian Damage Forsythe from Kix. And we have a special guest who actually is a Marylander, moved out to Las Vegas, and looking forward to hearing his story, but he's got a great testimonial that I'm going to let him share. I'm not going to steal any of his thunder. So welcome aboard, Christopher Karpiak. So welcome, Chris.
Well, thank you so much.
So you started out in Maryland.
Yep.
La Plata, I believe is what you told us.
Yep.
And you headed out to Vegas. So are you a professional gambler? What took you out there?
I am a comedy magician from Maryland, right? One of the best in Maryland, too, and decided, why should I be stuck in Maryland? I'm going to go where the magic is happening. So I drove out in 1999 and became a magician on the Las Vegas Strip.
Wow. Now, how's things going now? Is Vegas shut down again?
Totally. Yeah, I haven't been. I stopped performing March 17th. I haven't performed since.
That was the last Kix show.
Yeah, Brian hasn't performed since then too.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Wow. So tell us a little about your journey. Tell us about. I read your testimonial on some site, and that really just intrigued me. And I'm like, man, we got to have this guy on. This has got to be a great story to share. So
it's really crazy. It really is.
Let's hear it.
I made it to 298 pounds. 298 was what I made it to.
Yeah, I'm with you. By the way, I did 298.
Yeah, and I told myself, this is when I told myself enough is enough. I'm not going to get to 300. It's not going to happen. So I started working out then. That's when I just started doing like workouts and such. I didn't even start doing my thing yet. I didn't start intermittent fasting. I didn't start keto. I didn't start any of that yet. I just decided that 298 was enough. From 298, I got down to about 260, and I was really happy. I was happy that I was just doing it with a little bit of diet and some exercise, right? And then one day, I'm a comedy magician, good friends with a guy named Chris Kenner. Chris Kenner is the producer for David Copperfield, okay? So Chris Kenner's a really good friend of mine. One day I'm having dinner with him, and I order food, and Chris comes over, and I said, Chris, order whatever you want. And he says, well, it's not my eating window. And I was like, eating window? What the hell's an eating window? And he goes, well, I intermittent fast, and I'm on the warrior fast, so I only eat for 4 hours a day. As I'm shoving chicken wings in my mouth, I'm like, well, that just sounds dumb. Who eats for 4 hours a day? And then I thought about it, and I was like, wait a minute, I eat for 4 hours a day. I eat 7 to 8, noon to 1, and I was giving him, and he goes, no. I mean, there's an eating window that I'm in. So I was like, oh, man, that sounds dumb. That just sounds like the stupidest thing on the planet, right? And so anybody that thinks that, and you got to remember, this is Chris Kenner, right?
Right.
This is Chris Kenner. This is a person that I look up to, right? And I'm basically calling him dumb. And I didn't think of it during the conversation until it kicked in. This is a person that I look up to. Why am I like, pushing this aside? So that evening, and then I asked Chris, I said, is this how you lost that 50 pounds? And he said, yeah, all I did was fast. So I was like, that's crazy. So went home and started doing research. I Googled intermittent fasting. Then I learned, basically, if I can skip breakfast, I'm intermittent fasting, basically, because the 16-8 protocol. So I started doing this research on intermittent fasting. I'm not a person that jumps into things. I need to know all the sides of the story, okay? Everything. I'm one of those people. If I'm going to buy a radio, I need to know everything about this radio before I purchase it. So it's the same with my body. So I did everything. I watched Thomas DeLauer. I watched Fung's, both of them, Andrew and Jason Fung. I read the scientific approach to intermittent fasting because I wanted to know what happened in my body, the scientific reasons that this works. I did so much research. One of my favorites was Dr. Zarowski, Dr. Z. Loved his stuff, right? So I did so much research back and forth. And now this is in October. January 1st is when I started of 2019. Took me 2 months of research before I said, I'm going to give this a try. 2 months. I didn't just jump in. 2 months of research. From January 1st to January 15th, I was 268 pounds, January 1st. January 1st to January 15th, I weighed 200 pounds. I lost 68 pounds in 15 days.
Wow.
15 days. I weigh 170 now. It was February 26th that I get 170, and I've never been 170 in my life. I think I came out at 175, I think, out of my mom. That's how fat I was, right? So 170 pounds. Now, I tell people this all the time, losing it fast. I also worked out, so there is nothing loose on me. Everything looks nice and tight. Everybody sees my befores and afters. They're like, it's crazy how that happened. It's not losing that has amazed me. It's keeping it off that has amazed me. That was 2019. This is 2020, and we're in August. I still weigh 170 pounds, and I'm just doing. I just mix things up a bit. I do every protocol during the week. So like I haven't eaten today. I might have one meal today. So I'll go OMAD today. Tomorrow I might do 16-8. The next day I might do 18-6. I keep that confusion, that body confusion going on because I don't want it to get stale. I don't want it to like be stagnant.
Right.
And I've done everything from intermittent protocols to extended protocols. I've done 120-hour fasts. So I don't mind throwing in the extended fasts for like resets also.
Wow.
So that's basically my story.
Wow. That's it. So you truly are a magician. You make fat disappear by poof, gone. Boy, it's a good thing you don't have Brian's doctor. Brian's doctor freaked out. He lost 5 pounds to lose 68 pounds. They'd have called the ambulance for Brian on that one.
Wow.
So let me ask you this question, Chris. So how are you feeling? I mean, were you feeling more energy, more clarity? How are you feeling? Give the people the benefits of during this process.
So like I said, remember one of my first people that I listened to that I watched was Thomas DeLauer, and Thomas actually put the science in intermittent fasting for me, which was awesome. Mental clarity, which I didn't know was a thing before. I mean, I'm pretty cognitive and I'm pretty smart, but mental clarity is not smarts. Mental clarity is not cognitive. It's this clarity. You're like, even on intermittent fasting, when I have my first meal, I'm in a little fog. I'm in a little fog, and you feel that little fog, right? But if you're eating all day long, you're always stuck in this fog. So, and I never thought of that before this, right? So you're right with that. Mental clarity is one of my favorite things about intermittent fasting. But, and I tell people all the time, if you're intermittent fasting to lose weight, you're not in it for really what it's for. Please do it for your health. Do the intermittent fasting for your health. Losing the weight is a side effect. It's honestly it's going to happen. It's just going to happen. So don't worry about that, but do it for your health. Our bodies need to turn off. I've done so much of this. I've never realized before, I'm 50 years old. I never realized before in my 50 years of living that my digestive system has never turned off. I've always had a midnight snack. I've always had this. It takes 12 hours for it to shut off, 8 to 12 hours, right? And if I'm eating the whole time, my pancreas is always pumping stuff out of it. My liver's always working. My esophagus is always, you know what I'm saying, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So I didn't realize you need to turn your body off every once in a while for that daily reset. Reset that gut biome. And then you're actually going to feel better. Then the weight starts to fall off. What a great side effect.
No,
what a
perfect.
great side effect of feeling good.
Yeah, people don't understand that the reality of it is they take vacations from their job and they go to the beach or to the mountains or some fabulous place, Vegas, but they don't realize that their body never gets a vacation. And I'm right there with you. I mean, for most of my life, I bought into the, breakfast, the most important part of the day, snack your way 5 to 7 times a day. Wake up at midnight, have a few snacks. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, went to, grab a spoon of peanut butter, all that stuff. And then when I started to realize about intermittent fasting and that my body my organs never get a chance to shut down. I'm like working them over time. And then we wonder why people age. We wonder why we age, and we age because we never give our body a chance to heal and recover and average itself out and balance itself out so it can recharge. And like you said, you just live that way, and you live that way, and you live that way. You think, well, this is just how life is. And people say, well, how old are you? I'm 50. Yeah, you start getting aches and pains. Yes, it's part of getting old. But no, that's BS. You don't have to have aches and pains. You can let your body recharge. I mean, you look great for 50. Brian looks great for 50. We look great in our 50. Well, I know, Brian, you got a birthday coming up. What's 63, Brian? What is it?
63 in September.
See that?
63.
You don't look 63.
Yeah,
look at that. Look at that. That's crazy. And like you said, with the aches and pains, for every pound you lose of fat, it's 4 pounds of pressure off your knees. So think of that. For each pound of fat is 4 pounds of pressure off your knees. Think I went from 298 to 170. Think about my knees right now.
Right.
That's crazy.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that when we first started this podcast, started doing this show, Brian never needed to really lose weight. He definitely went down the keto carnivore path because of health reasons. And I'll let Brian share. Go ahead and share your reasons for coming on carnivore, Brian.
Yeah, it was a combination of things. I kind of discovered things along the way, but it initially started because of a doctor trying to prescribe statins for high cholesterol. And so that got me, it was like, no, that doesn't sound right to me. So she wanted me to change my diet or something. I forget what the first initial visit, I was going to come back in 3 months because I didn't want to take the statin. So she goes, well, you need to start eating more whole grains, fruits, and vegetables, and come back in 3 months and we'll do your blood again. And that's when I was just starting keto at that point. I had been drinking like the bulletproof coffee and all that. So I didn't take her advice on the diet, obviously, because I was already starting keto. So when I came back in the 3 months, that's when I lost the 5 pounds, and she freaked out. And my cholesterol numbers were perfect. The HDL was like 136, and my triglycerides were 46. I mean, how much better can you get? And my LDL was higher than what they say it should be, which it doesn't really matter. So that's what got me started. Well, yeah, just that got the research going. But then I did the keto. I started feeling better, but I was still having like gut problems, and that's mostly what it was. And when I heard Michaela Peterson's story about the carnivore thing, I thought, man, that's fascinating. But I mean, she had really bad autoimmune deficiency or autoimmune problems. The arthritis and the skin problems, and it completely cleared her up. I thought, well, maybe that'll fix my guts. And when I cut out the fiber and the vegetables and all that, I couldn't believe the difference. I never knew that I could feel like I feel until I did it. And I just did a 30-day thing on carnivore to start, just to see. And then for the next like 6 or 8 months, I kind of bounced back between carnivore and keto. And I noticed every time I go back to vegetables, I blow back up again. So I finally, was it March of 2019? I went full on carnivore and have been carnivore ever since. And yeah, all that bloating is gone. I mean, that ice cream's probably going to cause a little problem, but it's not the problems that the vegetables and the fiber cause. And people think I'm crazy because I'm not eating any fiber. Everybody thinks like, just like the quote, breakfast is the most important part of the day. People think that fiber, like you have to have fiber or you're going to die or something, but it's not true. In fact, I mean, it just completely fixed all my problems by eliminating that.
So Chris, I see you do fasting. I know you do your window fasting, but how far do you go out to? Do you do weeks fasting, a month fasting? What's the longest you've ever fasted?
120 hours is my longest. I do that once a year. I do a 96-hour fast every once in a while when I need it. But I do one 72-hour fast a month. It's kind of like a gut biome reset.
Yep.
I did a lot of research during this, I don't know what you guys want to call it. I hate giving it a name, what's going on. So this little quarantine that's going on, I hate giving things energy that doesn't need.
I'm with
like,
you. I'm with you.
If we keep calling this a quarantine, we're always going to be quarantined. If we keep saying the word the new normal, it's going to be the new normal. I don't like giving these things that energy, so I don't like saying that.
No, I'm with you.
So I've actually done research, self-research, and if you can see, I don't know if you can see my book, every single day and every single fast, hourly, I check my GKI. If people don't know, that's your glucose ketone index. I want to know where I'm at. I want to know what I'm feeling. I want to know how I'm feeling in each moment. I want to know what I'm taking in, because if you're an intermittent faster, you know I can have a black coffee, I can have a cold brew black coffee, I can have a green tea, I can have a black tea, and I can also have water, right?
Right.
So I've actually done the research where there's been days on days where it's just been water, or it's been coffee, or it's been green tea, because I wanted to see what my body goes through. Look, I've been out of work for 6 months. Why not try and do this little testing? I've also tested all the keto versions. Now, Brian was talking about vegetables, and I don't know if you guys are plant paradox guys, but Dr. Gundry, he has a whole book on the plant paradox and a lifestyle plant paradox, and another paradox book that I read. Amazing things with how lectins really screw up our body. He explains how a lectin is kind of like how a plant evolved so that it could survive in the wild, so that we're not supposed to eat this thing.
Right.
And when he says he's getting these bloating and he's getting hurt in his stomach, it really gives us leaky gut. And that's why it's called the plant paradox, because it's mostly vegetables that give us this. Tomatoes are like one of the worst things for our body. And he said, I think he said grains and stuff. Oats has the highest amount of lectins in it. I never knew, trust me, I've done so much research on foods. He talked about the carnivore diet. You guys speak of that. Nina Plank has a book called Real Food. Nina Plank, she tried to be a vegan for a while and she got deathly sick. She realized we need meat.
Absolutely.
She actually said this. She was like, look, I even tried it. She goes, I even went the route. I understood. I'm going to be a vegan. And she's like, no. Now she understands why she needs meat. She needs it for the proteins that you can't get any other place. She needs it for the creatines you can't get any other place. You can't supplement real food. You can't, I mean, you can try and take all these vitamins, but they're not doing the same thing real food would. So I've done so much research on why I'm putting this food in my body, right? And carnivore, one of the best ways to go. I tell people all the time, you have canines for a reason. You have these teeth for a reason. We're not herbivores, we're omnivores. We're supposed to eat meat. So when I hear a vegan or a vegetarian get all mad at me, I'm like, yeah, go ahead, get mad at me. I'm gonna live my life. Go ahead and get mad at me. Look how healthy I am. So yes, I've tried it all. I've tried everything.
So Chris, here's my question to you. Brian and I talk about this all the time. Isn't it amazing that you on your own, a magician, the best magician in Maryland, I'll give you that title right now.
It's me. Don't tell Brian Garner.
he's number two, but number two is not bad either. But here's the question. If you were able to come to this conclusion on your own, doing your own research, doing your own testing on your own body, how in the world does modern medicine here in the United States still prescribe to people who have heart attacks to eat oatmeal and heart healthy stuff, and all of it's crap? That's the part that frustrates me. Like, I have so many friends that their parents and stuff have been put on oatmeal. Oh, although they're under doctor's care, they're eating oatmeal. They need their grains. It's like, I just want to pull what's left of my hair out and go, but they're giving your parents bad advice. It's not good advice.
Yep. I did a 1 hour live video explaining fats to people and how good fats are. Good fats.
Absolutely.
I explained, when you buy a pack of bacon, look at the total fat content. Look at the saturated fat content. You want the saturated fats to be about half the full fat. And my friends were like, no, saturated is so bad for you. I'm like, whoa, I don't know who's talking. I don't know who's telling you all these bad stories. And then I explained to them how canola oil or vegetable oils are so bad for you because of the low smoke point. It becomes rancid so much faster, and it becomes free radicals in our body. I explain to people these things, and I'm just trying. I could tell them, look, how about I just change your oil? Let me just change your oil. That's it. Let's go to avocado oil or coconut oil. I'm not going to do anything else in your life, but I just want to change that for this week, right? And they won't even do that. I'm not understanding why people aren't getting, because you see people on Facebook, you see people on all these social media formats. They'll post something like avocado, the good fat, and then I'll actually ask them, what do you know about good fats? Because you seem to be not understanding when I'm telling everybody about good fats. So I don't think people are grasping. And like Brian said, our doctors don't even want to put you on a diet. Like you said, they want to put you on oatmeal. They want to give you medicine first. I don't want medicine first. I want to know if my body can fix this thing first, right? Like Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yeah, love Dr.
You are
Joe.
the placebo, right?
Love Dr. Joe.
Crazy. So, I mean, you are the placebo. He does all these little tests with all the placebos, and everybody gets all well. And then he tells them afterwards, yeah, I just gave you a sugar pill for this whole thing. Food and proper nutrition is all we need. And I can't get that through people enough. I can't explain to people how bad sugar is for them. I don't know why people can't grasp how inflammatory sugar is and sugar byproducts. Like when I say that, I mean like your potatoes, your starches. I don't understand how people just can't understand. If it turns into a sugar in your body, it's going to wreak havoc on your body. It's the number one cause of cancer. Whenever you are diagnosed with cancer, the first thing the doctor tells you is to come off sugar. It's the first thing they'll tell you. That's the first time ever I was like, wow, a doctor's actually telling you something proper. They know that sugar cells are fed by sugar. Sugar feeds cancer cells, I mean.
Right. No.
Right? They understand that now. Fat kills it off. So if we can become fat adaptive, right? Fat adaptive, we're supposed to run on fat, not sugar. Everybody's all sugar adaptive in this society nowadays. And look at 300,000 people die every year from obesity. 300,000 people. They're projecting 420,000 this year because of so much obesity, more obesity with this pandemic. So many people are gaining weight during this time, sitting at home just munching.
Well, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you said something that I want to just piggyback off of.
Okay.
The fact is, you said something about that, you don't want to give it energy, but I hear so many people talk about you got kids going back to school, the freshman 15, the COVID-19, everybody's packing on weight, and they're justifying that's just a part of life. That's going to happen. And they're literally putting that on their kids as they send them off to college, expecting that, and then giving people an excuse at home. Oh, this is what everybody else is doing. Everybody else is gaining weight too. So I need to instead of taking this time to truly do their own research, don't follow what your doctor, and I'm not saying your doctor is right or wrong. All I'm saying is do your own research, because you are the best physician for you. You can dispense the best medical advice for you. Nobody else cares about your body as much as you do. So do the research, and don't be afraid if you are under a doctor's supervision. Question your doctor's reasoning to tell you to have oatmeal or use vegetable oil. Anyway, it's just frustrating to see how a society keeps getting bigger, and obesity is a killer, sugar is a killer, and yet we're still trying to follow this as outdated, paid for by big pharma and the food industry, food pyramid, and we don't have the common sense to go, it's not working, America. Look at the facts. It's not working.
Yes. Another thing, when we talk about sugar, it amazes me how many foods now have added sugars in them that never used to have it. Like mayonnaise is only supposed to have 4 or 5 ingredients, and sugar's not one of them. And it has 3 sugars. I taught my audience that there are 50 names for sugar you need to learn. You need to learn the word maltodextrin, because they're like, well, it's just got maltodextrin in it. And I'm like, yeah, that's sugar. Oh, it's just got this in it. Yeah, that's sugar.
Dextrose, O's, all the
Dextrose.
O's. Yeah.
Right. So I tell my audience, learn what sugar is, because it's hilarious when you turn over, and it's not hilarious. It's actually bad. But I say it's hilarious because why is it here? Turn over a mayonnaise. There's 4 different sugars in there. And they don't know what a maltodextrin is. Oh, is that a solidifier? That's just an emulsifier. My friends don't know what things are. And like, I'll tell people all the time, shred your own cheese. Why? Because they're using things in that shredded cheese you don't want. You don't want cellulose. You don't want potato starch. You don't want silica gel. Silica gel, that is ground sand. Who wants to eat ground sand? Cellulose, ground wood pulp. Who wants to eat ground wood pulp? And potato starch. You're adding sugar again to a good product. Cheese is good. Cheese is one of those good things for us. We don't want to eat too much, especially on keto. I was trying to tell people, stop making fathead dough and then putting cheese on your fathead dough, because you're eating cheese on top of cheese on top of cheese. Why not you can make a good pizza dough without the mozzarella cheese. There's a good pizza doughs, a couple doughs out there, right? But why are you making a cheese dough and then putting cheese on top of it? Man, you're going to be constipated for days, right? There's ways around everything. And like you said, do the research. Because you've only seen one part of my story, you haven't seen like everything.
No.
You need to go back and watch some of my live videos. A couple of them were crazy. I have actual people that didn't know me before that questioned me. Okay. So on my show, it took me 2 weeks. I gained 15 pounds purposely. I gained 15 pounds. I went to 185 pounds, showed them the scale and everything. And I said to them, now, without working out, with only intermittent fasting, let's see how fast I can get back to 170. It took me exactly 6 days. 6 days. They watched everything. They watched the journey with me, and it got so many people excited again because they didn't know. They honestly didn't know, because they saw this 170-pound guy telling them they need to stop doing these things, and they didn't know I was 298. A lot of them didn't believe it. There's no way that's you. People that knew me before were giving testimony, but that could, in magic, I could have plenty of plants in the audience saying, yeah, that guy is right. So people took that as that. So in this journey, I decided to show them, let me gain weight. So for 2 weeks, and it took me 2 weeks to gain 15 pounds, just so you know, I was eating cookies. I was eating cake. I wasn't intermittent fasting because I wanted to pack it on as fast as possible. But it took me 2 weeks. I thought it would take me a couple days the way I was eating, right? Afterwards, and once I started, I felt like crap, honestly. With all that sugar in my body, it took me a day and a half to get over that sugar sugar high. Yeah, that detox. It took me a day and a half just to get over that. Then I started. So I actually did a 48-hour fast to start this thing because I wanted to get that out of my system. And then I did 16/8 the rest of the way, and I lost it in 6 days. So I showed my audience, you can get rid of this COVID-15 in a couple weeks, in a couple days, easily.
And it's free. You don't have to pay anybody. You'll say that's the part. You don't need to do anything that's going to cost you money. You just have to restrain from your normal pattern. And then once you do that for a couple of days, your body will start to go, I'm feeling better now. I'm not inflamed like I was. and you can start to think clearer. You're no longer addicted. I mean, the people who have had sugar their whole life, it's tough for them to even fathom the idea of not having sugar. And the reality, and Brian and I have done some shows on this, like, and I was in the grocery store today. You go down any aisle, pick up any product, I don't care what it is, they've added sugar to it. And you have to ask yourself this question: why?
Why?
And the reason is, why are they putting an addictive substance in every food across the spectrum? Why? And it's because it feeds you to be able to be addicted to that drug and cause you to go to the doctor, which Big Pharma is going to sit there and tell you you need to take this statin, and we're going to keep you alive as long as you keep listening to us, and we're going to keep you eating the foods that you shouldn't, so you have to keep coming to us for this statin drug. So you want to live? Come and get the pill. We have it. Instead of, the very simple thing is, I'm not going to eat your food. I'm
Right.
going to eat one ingredient food, and I'm going to reset my body through intermittent fasting. And that's all you got to do. Like Brian says, just do it for 30 days. Give yourself 30 days. And honestly, like you've done, Chris, take a journal. How are you feeling each day? And at the end of 30 days, do you feel better or do you feel worse? If you feel worse, go back to what you were doing. But my bet, especially if I'm in Vegas, I'm putting all the chips in that you're going to be feeling better if you've truly done what you said you did.
Oh my good. And it's funny that people just give in so quickly. You said 30 days. I can't get people past 2. And it's like, gosh, if you can get past the detox phase, and I try and get people past that, get past the detox phase. I tell people whenever they're intermittent fasting, I tell them, you don't have to cut out sugar, just fast. I'm not even telling you to cut out sugar. Eat what you want. I just want you to try the fasting first. We'll worry about the rest later. I just want you to feel this fasting thing, right? You touched on a topic earlier there. You talked about sugar is in everything. Do you know the study or the research that Dr. David Moskowitz did in 1964? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't think so. Brian, are you aware of it? I know that we talk about different studies that were done back in the 1800s. There was a study done that was go ahead, share us with that one.
This is the guy that made us fat. Think about before 1964. What did our grandparents cook with? Lard.
Yeah.
Lard, bacon grease.
Yeah, bacon grease.
We ate the fattest foods, and we weren't that fat, were we?
No, you look at all the pictures of the 60s, and people are at the beaches, and they're all pretty much slim.
David Moskowitz screwed us. He came up with the perfect formula of protein, carb, sugar, protein, fat, sugar, the perfect combination, the perfect ratio that causes us to become addicted. The first people to use it were McDonald's. They purchased that actual ratio from him, and everything has that ratio. Their burger buns have sugar in them. They actually add sugar to it so that it's part of this ratio. They add a specific fat in there too, so it's part of this ratio, right? And it has proteins. It has the gluten proteins in there, right? It's this perfect ratio. It's called the golden ratio of getting people addicted. And he was a physician that came up with this, and they were like, people were like, wait a minute, why would you want to cause people to become addicted to food? And he goes, look, I'm just making money. I made $2 billion off of this ratio, and I got out. I don't care what they do with it. Everybody started using this golden ratio. Everybody. Think about tomato ketchup. Ketchup is supposed to be tomatoes, vinegar, spices.
Yep.
That's it. Now there's high fructose corn syrup, and sugar. They're all in. Why? Why is there 3 sugars in there? Because it goes with that golden ratio. And think about how many kids are addicted to it. Ranch dressing doesn't need sugar, but go look at your ranch dressing on the shelf. Not the one that you make at home, the one on the shelf. They've added sugar to it. Kids don't know why they're eating everything with ranch. They don't know why they need ketchup for their fries. They don't know why they need this. And think about this. French fries. It's a potato. It's going to turn into sugar already. And now you're dipping it into sugar. I'm floored by what we're getting away with in our culture, that they're allowing this golden ratio to stay around.
Well, think about, I was at Harris Teeter, and I was going down the aisle. They had a whole new aisle of almonds, cashews, and they had all kinds of, they had buffalo, they had all kinds of stuff. They had, like, instead of regular beef jerky, they had salmon jerky, they had pork butt jerky. It was all kinds of stuff. I go, wow, this is interesting. So I started picking up all the packages. I turned over every package, including like the smoked almonds. They're all cooked in canola oil, sunflower seed oil, vegetable oil. And I'm like, why?
Why?
And
Yep.
that's the reason why. That's why they know that they can get you addictive by that ratio, that formula.
Yep.
And that's why they do it. They could care less about your health. Even the ones that have the heart healthy stamp, you know, comes from a purchased program that's purchased by. Oops. You guys still there?
Yeah.
I've lost my screen. Hold on a second.
No, he lost his screen.
I'm back. Okay, I'm back.
I saw you.
Okay,
You're
back.
right.
Yeah. So it's crazy to me, but you know, like Brian says, you share this from the heart because of what you found with your own research, and they like look at Brian and they go, oh, but you know, even his own mom, like, well, hey, you're just a guitar player. What are you going to tell me about dieting and
Right.
and food for fuel or health? You know,
Yeah,
I'm listening to my doctor, right, Brian?
Oh,
and it's crazy too because I can you know, show people research and you know, send them links to all this stuff, and it's so embedded in people's minds what they've been told over the years that they just they can't comprehend it. Like, even though I'm like the most healthy I've ever been in my life, you know, I still have people that are worried about my health because of the way I eat, which is just insane to me. It's like, no, I mean, this kind of proves that it works. It's crazy.
Well, Chris, look at you. I mean, you're glowing. I mean, you look great. 50 years old. You got full of energy. You're high. You're energetic.
yep.
And yet, I'm sure you got people who go, you probably are prone to have a heart attack or stroke if you keep eating that fat food.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm like I said, I do research. I don't just jump into things.
Right.
So in December, I went to my doctor and had a full blood panel. 6 months later, in July, I went back and had it done again. And this is one of the crazy things. I don't take anything else. I just eat properly. Not only were all my numbers amazing, like he was floored, and because I didn't really tell him what I was doing until then, my numbers were amazing. The number that floored me the most was testosterone. I was actually low. I was in the low 300s, right? But when I went in, right, I'm obese guy, low testosterone, blah, blah, blah. My testosterone tripled. I was in 900s
Wow, that's
in July. And I was like, wow, I have all this high libido and this energy and I'm not taking anything. My doctor asked me, what are you on? Are you on some sort of testosterone replacement? A libido replacement? Are you taking some kind of Yohimbi or like he gave me all these names. I'm like, oh no, I'm just eating the right foods. He didn't believe me. And then I was like, well, I'm intermittent fasting also. And he goes, is that why you dropped so much weight? Like he was upset with me, but he wasn't. But he was like, because you should have seen it. He was like, he wants to try it, right? He won't try it, but he looks like he wants to this whole time. My eye doctor, now he's not my medical doctor. My eye doctor watched my whole thing because he sees me every 6 months. He's actually doing it now. He's fasting now because he's like, oh my God, I got to do something. I'm going to try this. Boom. Love it. So if I could change one person, that's it. I'm fine. I'm happy.
Well, you've done that, and I'm sure you've done a lot more than that, and so has Brian, and I think so have I. And I say that because, you know, living your life is your testimony to what works. And if you have to sit there and prescribe something to somebody to give them a placebo to feel better, instead of showing them a way to feel better by doing something that costs them no money, intermittent fasting costs you no money. And people go, yeah, but that keto carnivore, it's so expensive. Well, and compared to what? You're eating 5 to 7 meals a day right now. I mean, you want to buy oatmeal. Okay, that's cheap. Let's just say you spend $1, but 7 times a day, that's $7. You can't buy a steak for $7.
Right.
And then
Go ahead, bro. And eggs.
The result of eating all that crap, you know, the medical bills and the prescriptions on top of that, you know.
Yeah, so you look at the total package that comes with you eating 5 to 7 meals a day, going to the doctor on a regular routine to make sure your medicine is the right cocktail has been prescribed for you, and you're spending a lot more money than I am for my $20 worth of crabs and shrimp and steak and scallops and bacon I do a day, and because I'm like Brian, I don't go to the doctor. I don't take I got one or two medication that I have weaned myself off of, that I'm down to next to nothing. My wife cuts up the pills, and I'm almost where I don't need them at all.
Nice.
So tell me again how keto and carnivore is so expensive. It's like I had a guy one time told me he was going to buy the most economical car. I said, what are you getting? He goes, I'm getting a Mercedes. And I go, how's it economical? He goes, last one I had lasted me 25 years. I'm going to buy another one that lasts me another 25 years. He goes, it's only expensive up front, but over the life, it's cheaper than me buying a cheap car.
Right.
That's exactly how I look at keto carnivore versus the pyramid diet that most doctors put you on. So,
yep.
so to say that I can't afford to do keto carnivore, that's just a cop-out, because if you can afford to put the crap that you're putting in your body now that has you addictive to that sugar, to that drug, then, and they don't even know that they're literally have made themselves a slave to that whole system. They've made themselves a servant to that system. And they have no idea that once they break free of that system, how free they really can be. And once you're free from that system, you don't want to go back to that system. You're not tempted by it. You're like, I'm never going back over there again.
Yep.
So Chris, so give some people some links how they can find your channel, can follow up with you.
It's just my Facebook page. I go live pretty much every day around 5 o'clock, and I do fasting Fridays. That's the best days to do my fasting, because the people that follow me, they do the fasting Fridays. My YouTube channel, Christopher Karpiak, and my Facebook page, Christopher Karpiak. Everybody, go ahead, add me, please. Whatever you want to do, it's awesome. Fine with me.
Awesome. And then and when do you think you'll be performing again in Vegas? When can people catch your show, or how can they get a hold of you on a performing level?
So I'm at the Mandalay Bay, just so everybody knows. That hasn't changed. I'll always be at the Mandalay Bay no matter what. 15 years now, Mandalay Bay. We don't know when entertainment's going to be back. We don't know if it's going to be the end of this year or beginning of next year. They haven't even given us a date yet. So, but if you follow me on any of the social media platforms, I always post something of what's going on in Las Vegas.
Well, it's funny because we've gone out to Vegas a couple of times, and we stayed at Mandalay Bay for the Mayweather fight, and it was my birthday, so my wife got me tickets. We had front row seats at the MGM to see David Copperfield's show.
Nice.
And yeah, he disappeared right over my table. He came over that thing and was right above me, and poof.
Yep.
So
he appeared on the motorcycle to start with. Bam, motorcycle. Bam.
Yeah.
Love it. How long ago was this?
That was probably 2006. It was a while ago.
Nice.
That was a long time ago. So
nice.
But,
that's awesome.
My son just got back from there. He loves Vegas, so he went there probably about 3 months ago. Whenever it was open last, he was there.
Right.
So
good. Yay. Yeah. Love that.
Well, listen. Man, I tell you what, you've been a breath of fresh air to come on and share your perspective on stuff. Brian, you got any more questions for Chris?
Wow, you pretty much covered it. Yeah, I mean, intermittent fasting, that in conjunction with, the keto or carnivore is just a magic combination.
It really is. It really is. I don't know how many people watch or follow, or sometimes I don't like his stuff with Thomas DeLauer, but he puts the two together. He puts the keto and intermittent fasting together. You have to weed through his videos though, because he sells more than he actually teaches. So it's like, you're always watching it and you're like, oh, that's why you talked about it, because you're selling that product. Oh, I don't really need those peely nuts. I'm good. I'm fine, or whatever. So you have to weed through some of his stuff. But and that's one of the reasons I like Edward V. I don't know if you guys watch Edward V. He's the black guy. He's awesome. He sells this jump rope. All he does is jump rope. That's all this guy does. Intermittent fasting and jump rope, right? And this guy he's so positive and upbeat about intermittent fasting. Love his show. And he calls everybody the fasting warriors. Oh, hello, my fasting warriors, right? Great channel. So I tell people all the time, look, even if it's not me, even if like you don't trust me, watch one of these guys. Watch Fung, watch Zarowski, watch Thomas DeLauer, watch these guys, and then I will be here for you. I will help you every step of the way. I will hold your hand if you want me to, right? Because you're going to get it. And like I tell people all the time, they ask me, do you still intermittent fast? I'm like, I don't know how to stop now. It's in my lifestyle. I'm not hungry. I'm just not hungry right now. When I become hungry, I eat. It's not like before 6 meals a day. I got to eat. No, it's when I feel hungry, I eat. That's what the difference is. So do I miss it? No. Why would I miss it? There's nothing to miss.
Exactly.
It's my lifestyle.
Hey Brian, do you guys play out in Vegas? Have you guys played out in Vegas?
At least once a year. We had a show scheduled for this past July, but of course now it's 2021 in July.
Right. Oh man.
I think the Cannery East were playing.
The Cannery East? Nice. Love the Cannery.
Well, awesome. Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining with us, and hopefully we'll have you back on from time to time. And I'm definitely going to jump on when I can on a Friday to jump on your Friday fast days on your show.
Oh, perfect.
Love to catch you. And then when I'm out in Vegas, I'll hit you up and we'll go grab some prime rib.
Yes, we definitely will. Heck yeah, we will. Dude, thanks for having me on. This was a blast. Had a fun time talking about this stuff.
Well, glad to have a Marylander that's out in Vegas and is another carnivore intermittent fasted. So great to have you on the show, brother. Take care.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you. Wow, that was interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really interesting to hear different people's stories and journeys, and yeah.
I just love how, it's the ones that have decided to take it upon themselves to go do the research and the study, and then decide to go out and do it, and then realize everything that they've been told to do is a bunch of BS. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, doing the research and learning the why, why you're doing it is a very important part of it to be able to stick with it.
Yeah, and like he said, what are you missing? And that's the thing that people don't understand. I mean, I think Mark did a great job in getting people to understand what intermittent fasting and the window and your body, and so did Chris did a great job at explaining the why your body needs. It was built for intermittent fasting, and you have too, in regards to the way the cavemen used to operate and going out and killing something and eating it as much as they can. And then, because I know on your posts, people are all the time, giving you a hard time, like, how can you eat all that food all in one sitting? And how come you don't get fat? How can you do that? And what they don't realize is that's it.
Yeah. And tonight I ate late. I did it was 24 and a half hours since yesterday when I ate, and then I ate within the hour before I jumped on here. So it was like a 24.5:1 ratio for the fasting.
I think that's what I'm on, believe it or not. I at 3:00 I had some other appointments I had to do, and I was like, well, this is my window if I'm going to have anything. So, and I wasn't even really hungry, but I went and fixed myself some food and I ate it, and I ate within an hour. Between 3 and 4 I ate, and so I'm done for the evening. Just drinking water. I'm done. So I'm done. I'm like I'm full right now. Like I'm just like I'm not even remotely hungry. And so I probably won't eat again till tomorrow anytime afternoon or sometime tomorrow. I don't even know if I'll eat. So,
Yeah, I actually have a travel day tomorrow. I'm traveling, so I'm thinking about just going for it tomorrow.
there you go. Where are you heading off to? You come.
Back up to Maryland
Okay.
for the weekend.
Awesome. Well, if you get an extra day on your schedule, let me know. We'll smoke a brisket or do some type of smoking project. So
Yeah, I'm doing
cool.
some recording. I don't know if I told you.
No. Oh, cool.
Yeah, a friend of mine's they're working on a collection of songs, and they asked me to play on a couple, and they want me to actually play, not that virtual, doing it.
Zoom meeting kind of thing. It's or playing it and sending it in to them.
Yeah, yeah. They want the actual amp sounds with speakers and everything, not just virtual, garage band stuff. So
Gotcha.
I'm just gonna fly up and do it, and we're gonna record for 2 days, and then we're having actually a big cookout and
Oh, cool.
cook some meat.
There you go. There you go. Well, enjoy your travels. Eat well, play well, and stay safe. And for everybody else out there, thanks for joining us again for another episode of Keto Rocks. We appreciate you taking time out to learn about this lifestyle, and hopefully you garnish some new knowledge or were inspired by. Oh, there you go. Look at Brian showing off his proper human diet. Brian has a PhD. So, and believe it or not, we did, and I know you guys are gonna say you guys talked about this, but we did not plan this at all. We got together. Brian's like, "Oh my gosh, we're twins, and I'm like, we didn't even plan it. So this wasn't planned. We both just by chance wore the shirt. So thank you guys for joining us. Stay safe, stay out of a hospital, and we'll see you guys next Friday. Appreciate y'all.